Flip to Freedom, episode number 58. Hello again, this is Sean Terry from the Flip to Freedom podcast, and we are on episode number 58. Now, if you are listening for the very first time, I'd like to welcome you and let you know that I have designed this podcast for you to help you escape the 9-to-5, get out of the rat race, be done with corporate America, fire your boss, enough of commutes, and you can live the lifestyle that most people only dream of. And you can do that by flipping properties in your spare time, quick turning properties, wholesaling houses. In your spare time, even if you have no cash, no credit, no experience, I don't care if you have a 400 credit score and you have no cash in the bank and you've never bought a house before, you can do this business. Now, today I've got a great interview case study for you. It's actually a gentleman that's in our mastermind group here locally in Phoenix. His name is Dorsey Mathews, a real estate investor, works with us here, and he actually has an incredible story because he actually got into real estate, lost his shirt trying to do fix and flip, and took a 2-year hiatus, and he was getting his education, getting back into school, kind of giving up on his dreams, and then he kind of ran into me through the Flip to Freedom podcast and through my other information and YouTube videos, and actually was on Bigger Pockets, and I connected with him there, and he got started here in Phoenix, got up and going. He got his first check in about 3 weeks, about $4,300, and then he couldn't get another check for 6 months. And this is the story of how he broke through, what he did in those 6 months, and how he broke through to go out and get a check that we closed on last week of over $5,300. So it's an interesting story because, when people get up and going, they sometimes believe that, and you hear all these stories of successful real estate investors and how they make this and how all these great stories. But, the bottom line is I think you got to see two sides of the spectrum, and the two sides are, listen, everything isn't all rose-colored glasses. There are tough times in there. He went out, and for those 6 months, he was doing marketing, but he couldn't get a check. So we kind of reveal exactly what kind of happened in that 6 months. We find out exactly what he wasn't doing in those 6 months that now he is doing, and he changed one thing. Just one thing, in a matter of weeks, he went out and from that one change, went out and now secured his second check, which this one thing I think will make a huge difference in his business. So I think you're going to absolutely love this case study interview. We talk about how he got the lead and where it came from and the structure of the deal and how he contracted it and negotiated it and turned around and sold it. So kind of go through everything in this interview, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So before we get into that, I would like to recognize and thank a couple of people that went into iTunes Store, either on the computer or whatever, or on the iPhone, and actually submitted a review. They searched the Flip to Freedom podcast, or just searched real estate investing and found the Flip to Freedom podcast, went in and submitted a review. One here came on June 17th. It says, great series by Double Rock 2011. I have really enjoyed the podcast. The tips and suggestions are right on the point. I am halfway through and moving on. So thank you very much, Double Rock 2011, for submitting that review. I appreciate it. Next one is Ted-99 on June 23rd, 2011. He said, 5 stars, flip your way to a new life. He says, I am going to listen to all Sean Terry's podcasts and get my life back. Then join his mentoring academy at flip2freedomacademy.com. Great person, great speaker, and knows his stuff. Thank you so much for submitting that review. I greatly appreciate it. And next one is from JL Laskic. I don't know what that handle is, but if you submitted this, you know who I'm talking to, so thank you so much. And it says, how to get everything you want. This is on July 6, 2011, and it says, Sean, this 5-star review. It says, Sean, incredible. This was one of the most powerful podcasts you have done. It just made sense. First, you give detailed info on what action to take now. You have given us the mental recipe for success. If you can't succeed with Sean's information, then you might want to consider another path. Sean lays it out for you. All you have to do is do the work. Thank you for putting my feelings, thoughts, and emotions on the right path. You and your podcast are truly a blessing. Extremely powerful content. Thank you so much. You have no idea. The podcast was truly life-changing. Well, thank you so much for submitting that review. I greatly appreciate you going in there and doing that. Now, this person is referencing podcast episode number 57, where I kind of share the other side of the coin when it comes to real estate investing. There's the how-to, the technical, the list you mail, the how to negotiate with a seller, what you put for specific contract clauses, and then there's the other side of it, where it's the more the spiritual, and there's more of the person you are and the person you can become to go out and become successful. A wealthy person once told me, says, you only can make what you're worth, and you only are worth what you are. So if you can become more and be more of a person, then guess what? When you do those technical how-tos and all that type of stuff, everything just falls into place. And people ask me, what's your edge? How do you always consistently do deals and outdo the competition? And how do you do that? And I said, well, that other side of the coin, and listen to podcast number 57, because I kind of reveal that edge to you and how to utilize it. So thank you guys again so much for submitting those reviews. I greatly appreciate it. Now, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to flip2freedom.com, 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 and you'll see a video of me on the front page. You can enter your email address, and I will send you a free 129-page comprehensive, detailed blueprint on exactly how to quit your job in 19 weeks or less. I go through in detail 19 weeks, step by step, of exactly what you do. This is the how-to, the specifics, the what mail piece to mail, what letter list to mail to. I give you the list information. I give you the mail. I tell you how to market a property, how to find buyers, how to talk to sellers, how to negotiate. Basically, pretty much lay out the entire thing for you, so you can apply it and go out and get success. And then with the other 7 different episodes out there, you can pretty much have an entire blueprint of exactly how to go out and make money in this business. All right, so enough of the jibber jabber. Let's get into this episode. It's going to be a rocking episode, and I want you to hear from Dorsey Mathews, who now has got his second check under his belt and learned a very, very valuable lesson. So let's get into that interview right now. All right, this is Sean Terry, and I have an incredible person for you today. His name is Dorsey Mathews. He's a new real estate investor, and he's got a kind of a unique story because his background, he has some real estate experience, kind of went down the fix and flip route, but then found me in Phoenix through the podcast, and I think it was through the podcast, and now has just closed on his second transaction. And it's very interesting how this transpired. And I think this will be a great interview for people that are getting up and going, and they're new to the business, and the struggles you kind of go through. Because everything is not rose-colored glasses. Everything is not easy. Oh my gosh, I'm going to send some letters, and I'm going to get some calls, and all of a sudden I'm going to make millions of dollars. It doesn't work that way. And I think this interview will kind of shine through that persistence is the key factor when it comes to success. So, Dorsey, how you doing?
Doing great.
I hear that excitement in your voice. Now, first off, let's tell listeners, the check that you just got, how much was it?
You know what? I don't have the check actually in front of me right now, but it was roughly $5,300.
So $5,300?
Yeah, $5,300. Probably about maybe $5,397, I believe.
Yeah.
and some change. And let me tell you, it feels good to get that check.
Yeah,
and,
it does.
Get over the second deal hump that I was involved in for a minute.
So sounds good. Okay, so let's tell listeners what's your background and how'd you get involved in real estate, and then how'd you find trip across to freedom?
Well, what happened? I moved to Phoenix, and I actually got involved in a deal, my first deal ever in Tampa, Florida, and I got a mentor in Tampa, Florida for $500. And he basically had a small little CD that he put together, and he was actually the first person that ever walked me through a deal. And I actually ended up getting a deal. I had very little money. I had maybe about $3,000 to work with. I bought a property in it was a pretty bad neighborhood in near the Tampa area. And let me tell you, everything went wrong with that property. It got vandalized. I didn't have very much money to deal with that property, and I had people spray paint, on my cabinets, and it was just a very bad property in a bad neighborhood. And I kind of got discouraged because I finally stepped out into real estate for the first time, and it kind of bombed. So
you did that property so you basically bought that property with hard money, and you were going to do a fix and flip. Was that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you weren't doing a wholesale deal where you tied up on a contract and flip it, and you have very little risk capital. You actually invested your own money into this deal to find the property, and fix it, and then turn around and sell it. Right.
Exactly. This particular guy. He showed me how to access private money, and so what I did, access private money at 18% interest per month. And let's just say that I ended up, pretty much having that property for about maybe 4 months, and I couldn't even fix it. And I was on the verge of moving here to Phoenix, so what I had to do was basically walk away from the property, and I quit claim deeded it back to my mentor at that time. So he kind of just took the property off my hands. And
so that's kind of weird. So he found the property for you. You bought it. You put your own money into it. You got hard money on it, and then you gave it to him. Yeah,
I gave it to him because I was very inexperienced, and it just became a problem for me, and I had to move. So you
became a motivated seller.
Exactly. I became my own motivated seller in the learning process.
That's crazy.
But well, I'll tell you what, I came here, I still stayed motivated. I received the inheritance from my father passing, and I wanted to use that inheritance to get back into real estate. I still was interested in doing it. At the time, all I knew was fix and flip. So I basically tried to incorporate what I learned already here in Phoenix, and I ended up getting about 3 properties.
Wow.
And what happened is I kind of, it's a mixture of jumping in too fast and trying to, make a lot of money in a short amount of time. That's what I had in my mind. Like, hey, I know how to do this. I made a mistake then, but I'm not going to make a mistake now.
Right.
And I was hearing that the market was smoking hot at the time, and, that's due to inexperience also. So what I did, I went in and got these properties with hard money lenders.
Right.
And let me tell you, I put a lot of the inheritance money into these properties as far as, renovation costs and holding costs. And you know what? I've never really seen the depth of what it takes to flip a property. And, I mean, if you look at all these TV shows, they glamorize flipping like it's just so easy. Just buy low and sell high. But there's a lot of risk involved in flipping, especially when you put your own money into it. And let's just say the market began to collapse on top of my head, and after a while, my holding costs started to accumulate, and the interest from the hard money, and I basically had to give those properties back to the hard money lenders. Now,
wow.
That sucks because you put your money into these properties, and you default on the hard money loan, and they end up getting the property along with the
improvements that you did at a lower cost basis than you are. So
exactly.
So did you know about wholesaling, the wholesaling business, or did you all you knew was fix and flip?
You know what? I actually bought two of those properties I bought from wholesalers.
Oh,
but I didn't know what wholesaling was.
Oh, I see. I got you.
And it's crazy because one property I bought in South Phoenix, I actually drove by the property while it was being fixed. And I talked to the guy the guy that was rehabbing the property at the time. I said, hey, I'll take it off your hands and I'll fix it for you. And he sold it to me at pretty much a little bit above what he got it for. And he didn't have to put a dime in it. And let me tell you, I put tens of thousands of dollars at the end of the day on that property.
Wow.
So that was my first occurrence with a wholesaler, but I didn't even know what he was doing.
You didn't even know that he was tying up a property and making selling and making money.
Exactly. Wow. I did not even know. So that was.
So you were pretty disgruntled. So you've done 4 properties that you tried to fix and flip, and for whatever reason, between either the market or or just the price you bought them at and stuff like that, it went kind of south. How were you feeling? About once you gave those properties back, how are you feeling about the real estate business, the real estate, making money in real estate type of thing?
Well, let's just say very discouraged, very discouraged. I felt ashamed for the simple fact that I received this money from my dad's passing, and I felt like I wasted it. And I thought about all the things I could have bought and all the things I could have done with that money instead of, in my mind, jumping into this, real estate investment business. And basically all the negative thoughts of what people would tell me, are you sure this is what you want to do?
Right.
And it's just a pipe dream, it's a scam, it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
And a lot of those negative doubts.
So you had that, plus you had all your family that was probably giving you, Yeah, exactly. I have a lot of college graduates in my family, and I've had people in my family actually attempt real estate and they failed also. And I've actually been helping some of my older cousins with real estate ever since I was 15 years old. Right.
And, I remember painting and going to Home Depot, and I learned how to use, drills and saws at a young age because, I was just helping my family members out. But I also watched them fail at it. And I began to think, maybe this just isn't for me like it wasn't for them. Maybe this just can't work because, when I seen the failure of them, for pretty much I personified their failure into me, and I just thought maybe this is something that I can't do.
Right.
And I began, and that's what I think a lot of investors come across. They see other people making it in real estate, and they kind of doubt themselves and say, well, that's something that they can do. Maybe it's something special about them, or they just have the drive, and maybe it's something I can't do.
Right.
So,
I think, it's funny. It's everybody feels like that. Even I feel like that. I mean, everybody has, their own inner demons or doubts that they are not good enough, or they don't have that ability, or maybe they don't have that type of talent to talk to people, or maybe they, they just don't have that luck that typically comes their way and stuff. So, yeah, I know. I mean, it's, I think everybody goes through it when they start a new venture, especially something, this kind of, like real estate investing, which is, it's not there's no cookie cutter type of application to go out and say, okay, if you do this, you'll get this type of thing. There's a lot of, it's very dynamic. All right, so what was the time frame between the last house you gave back to the lender and finding, say me at Flip to Freedom?
Well, probably around, I would say about maybe 2 years had passed.
Wow.
And at that time, I pretty much had to get back on my feet.
So what'd you do for those 2 years?
Well, I pretty much helped other contractors out. A lot of the contractors that I used to rehabilitate my property, I ended up working for them. So, and plus I had a little money left over, so the money that I left had left over, you know, I was saying, well, I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to use my GI Bill because I was in the military at the time.
Right.
I was preparing to finish my engineering degree and just kind of play it safe. That was my version of playing it safe, pretty much, just going back to school and saying, you know what, maybe this just isn't for me. One thing I do know is I can get education, and, you know, I'll just go ahead and get my degree and just get a 9-to-5. And
so you're basically giving up on your dream then. You're just saying, okay, you know, listen, I mean, because you got hit pretty hard. I mean, you got hit hard. So you're giving up, and you're like, okay, I'll just go the normal route that everybody else does. I'll go get an education. I'll go get a job, and I'll work for the man, and, you know, until I die or whatever.
Exactly.
So.
And it's so funny because, you know, I believe you mentioned it before. Most people think they're getting at, you know, going to college. And, you know, nothing against college, nothing against education. I'm an advocate of that. But a lot of people think jumping into 9-to-5 is safer. But in actuality, most of the people losing their jobs are college-educated people.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of people that come out of school and they can't find work. So, you know, but at the time, I thought that was the safest bet for me. We're in a recession, and I need to play it safe with the rest of this money. And I tell you, I still had, you know, debts that were, you know, residual debt and residual obligations from those properties. I've had you know, I had a lien put on one of the properties, a contractor's lien. I had to pay a contractor off, owed him money, taxes I had to pay. It was just real ugly.
Yeah.
You know, but luckily through private lending, it wasn't, you know, foreclosure or anything. But
right.
But the thing about it, I still had debt, and you know, it was hard to really see the light out of that debt.
Okay, so how did you trip across Flip to Freedom?
Well, basically, you know, I was pretty much getting prepared to go back to school. I was going to ASU. I was talking to deans and, you know, everything, getting prepared for the, you know, the fall semester. And something inside of me told me that, you know what, I really don't want to, I don't want to continue this degree. Yeah. And, you know, everyone was calling me crazy. You know, why don't you go back to school? What are you going to do? And, you know, if you don't do this degree, what are you going to do? And I just said, you know what, I know that real estate can make money. I've seen people do it. And I just know, again, this is what I want to do. There's nothing else I wanted to do in my life, as far as being, you know, from adult age that, you know, I wanted to do other than be a real estate investor.
Right.
And I knew that to live the lifestyle that I wanted to live and I dreamed about living, real estate would be that vehicle to get there. And I just thought about, you know, well, if I come out of school, I'll probably make $50,000. Well, I know that there's some flippers out there. You know, even before I even do wholesaling, I know there's some flippers out there that make $60,000 in one flip. So I just always knew that, you know, there was more money in real estate and there was more freedom, and that's what I wanted. So, you know, I decided to take the little bit that I have and give it one more shot. You know, even though people were calling me crazy, people were saying you're wasting your life. I've had that told.
So how old are you first?
I'm 31.
Okay.
I'm 31 years old.
You're a young pup. You're about 10 years younger than me. Imagine 10 years from now where you're going to be. It's going to be amazing. That's awesome. You're young. Okay, so then how'd you trip across Flip to Freedom?
Well, what happened is one day, you know, I just said, you know what, I need to get back in real estate. I need a mentor. So I already knew from the past that, you know, you can get all the books you want, but if you don't get out there and get real-world experience, you're not going to do it because, you know, you can have all the knowledge in the world and not apply it.
Right.
So I told myself, you know, if I seek, I will find. So I'm just a firm advocate of that. If you search hard enough, you will find it. So I began to went on a message board, biggerpockets.com, and I signed up. I figured this is where, you know, investors would be. So I signed up, and I told them my story, and that really was like maybe my second post where I met you, and you came on and sent me a message and said, hey, I'm starting this academy, Flip to Freedom.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I told everybody. I told my girlfriend. I told everyone, like, yes, this is it. I finally found a mentor. And it's funny because I've had other investors tell me that it's very hard to find a mentor.
Right.
I was told that before. I was told that, well, they don't have enough time for you, and why would they create a new competition in their market? And, so I thought it was actually impossible to find somebody to teach me the real estate market. Now, I didn't even know that I was going to be taught wholesaling. I just thought I was going to be taught basic real estate investing.
Right.
So,
it's funny because if obviously we're in the Phoenix market here. If you go to any other of the other wholesalers, and I know I'm pretty much friends with everybody, but they are incredibly guarded on exactly what they do and how they do it and where they market and how they get their properties and how they sell their properties, and they are so guarded that if you went up to them and said, hey, will you mentor me, they'll basically just like, yes, they forget it, or they're going to give you just 1/10 of the information, or they're going to have you sign a non-compete agreement for a 3 to 5 year period, and say, okay, it works with me like that. So it is. I know. I know. For me, it's difficult to find someone. You just kind of got to do it and kind of figure it out. But luckily we connected, and you got started and you got up and going, and you got your first deal, right? And you became a member of the Flip to Freedom Academy, became a coaching student, so we started working together that way. So you got your first deal, and you made $4,300 on your first transaction. And I remember you're super excited. We got it. I think everybody's seen the video of you. I don't think your video has been watched almost 1,000 times. So I think.
You know what? I feel like a celebrity sometimes.
Yeah.
I get, this people, even in the mastermind group, like, yeah, I've seen a video of you. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling.
So you did that. You went and got your check, and then you're and then there was that. Now, we're talking about your second check here. Now, let's talk about, because there was a delay between your first check and the second. How long between, when you got your first check that now you've, got your second check? What was the time frame between there?
The time frame, I closed on the first deal in January. So
June, July.
Closed
this one in June.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so beginning of June. So January, February, March, April, May. So about 6 months. 6 months. 6 months of working. Now, and the reason I want to tell people this, and because everybody seems like that's either talking about real estate or real estate investing, just like you said, they make everything sound so easy, and they make everything sound, it's all. Oh yeah, you press a button, or you send some letters, and you make a ton of money. That's not the case. See, there are people like you that can get in and they go out and make a check, so it works and solidifies your belief, and then you go 6 months without even making another check, and people sometimes they get scared and they go, oh my gosh, I don't want to do 6 months. But, there are things that you can do to ensure that you don't, that don't have that. And those are the things that you've learned, over the process, of the 6 month time frame. So, but during that 6 months, now you were marketing, you were sending letters, you were doing the how-to stuff, right?
Exactly. There was probably 1 month where I just kind of paused on the campaign because I had financial obligations I had to deal with, and but for the other 5 months, I was still
pounding it.
I was still campaigning, marketing, and I actually had to cut back on a few campaigns, versus what I did the first check.
Right.
But I just kept consistent, and sometimes you get a little discouraged, and your consistency drops a little bit.
Yeah.
But what happened is I pretty much.
Well, the thing is, you couldn't say that it doesn't work, right? Because you got to check. So you knew the whole process. So it's almost like you're in this weird spot because you got to check. And you're saying, okay, it works because you got to check. But now you're in this thing, you're going, holy cow, does it work over and over, or is it just like it's a one-hit wonder? You know what I mean? Is it like, is it ever going to happen again? And you kind of start doubting, you start freaking out, and you're going, oh my gosh, is it ever going to happen again, right?
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, Sean, I think the biggest thing that was running through my head is, okay, I know it works. Now I need it to be consistent because I need this to be my source of income. So, during that time, you do kind of, I won't lie, I did get a little discouraged in wondering.
A little discouraged? Yeah. You're probably, tell the truth, buddy. You're probably like, this sucks, you're probably freaking out.
This sucks big time, yeah. The first thing I'm thinking is, wow, in the mastermind group, I hear deals coming up, and I'm pretty much saying to myself, why am I not getting any bites? I'm not getting any bites, and, I'm going to keep going, but what's going on? And I just have to really sit back and just evaluate my marketing campaign and how I was approaching things and how
now
sellers.
You're more of a technical person, right? So you're more, you like to have all the facts and, like all the details and the numbers and all that type of stuff, right?
Exactly. I'm pretty much analytical. That's from the engineering background, architecture background.
Right.
I got to see the numbers, and if A and B doesn't lead to C, then, it doesn't make sense to me. So, to me, at the time, I'm telling myself, is this consistent enough for me to not have to replace get a job or look for any employment or continue my education? Can I live off of this? That's basically what I'm telling myself.
Right.
Because, I'm saying to myself, like, can I live with getting a deal every 6 months? No, I can't do that.
Right.
So, the analytical side of me is talking to me. But I do know it works.
Yeah. So you knew it worked. You knew it done. Now I remember you came to a mastermind meeting, and you did a mailing, and we were kind of talking about, okay, what's wrong? What's going wrong here? Let's kind of analyze your process of, okay, who you're mailing to, what type of list you're mailing to. Okay, you're mailing a yellow letter. Is there anything you're different on the yellow letter? Okay, now let's analyze what the response rate is, and it sound like you're getting a good response rate. Okay, now let's analyze what you're saying on the phone, and I think we kind of tweaked things about how to loosen up a little bit on the phone, and instead of just being so regimented, and following a script or whatever, but just kind of loosen up and really find out what their story is and build a rapport with them, which I think you've done. And then I think we came down to it, and I remember we had the mastermind meeting here in Phoenix, and I said, okay, Dorsey, you've got to tithe. Now, if you've heard me preach, in the previous episodes, that you've got to tithe. Now, for people who are listening, if this is your first episode, go back and listen. We got 57 different episodes you can listen to, but where we have case studies and stuff. But one thing that there's the how-to side of it, of the technical on the list you mail, the type of mailing you send, what you say on the phone, what information you gather, the questions you ask. Those are the technical how-to stuff that I think everybody's looking for. Everybody wants to know how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I get leads? How do I talk to people? How do I close them? How do I sell a property? Everyone's looking for the how-to. And if you listen to episode number 57, I kind of give you the other side of the coin, which is the spiritual side and the mental side, because there's you, and then there's the actual technique, the letter, so there's two sides of the coin. So I think you were doing everything right on one side of the coin. You were saying the right thing, mailing the right list, doing the right thing. On the other side of the coin, you were kind of missing it. And you were missing a big key factor I talk about is tithing. And tithing is where you actually give 10% of whatever you take in to either a church or a terrible organization, whatever. You give it to someone homeless on the street. I don't care. You give 10% of whatever you make. So I remember in the meeting I said, Dorsey, are you tithing? And you said, no, right?
Yeah, exactly. I said, no. You told me a couple times. I think I didn't get it until maybe the second or third time.
Yeah,
because,
and I think I hammered you. I hammered you pretty hard in the meeting, and I was like, "Dude, what are you thinking?" You come here, and this is the funny thing. There's people listening to this right now that've listened to all the previous episodes. You've heard me say, you got to tithe, and they're still in their head going, "Well, I'll do everything else, but I won't do that one thing." And you're the person that's figuring out, going, "Why is it not working for me?" Bingo. Exactly. Like I said, there's two sides of the coin. So I hammered you pretty hard. And then there's people that actually, get in the Flip to Freedom Academy. They sign up. They pay for coaching. I tell them what to do, and they choose not to do it. Now, obviously, I can't make someone do it, but I tell them what to, and then they choose. So not only they're paying to be taught, say, hey, listen, do this, do that, do this, do that, and then they still opt not to do it. So it just fries me, that people have their own thoughts. But now, some people might agree with it or might not, but I believe it's a spiritual law of success. And so anyways, let's continue down the story. You actually, so I hammered you pretty hard, and you still didn't do it. Is that right?
Exactly. You hammered me so hard to the point I said, look, I have to do something, because if I come back to this meeting again and I didn't tithe, you're going to kill me. Or, I'm like, I got to do it, Right. And let me tell you, like you said, a lot of people are so focused on the analytics of how to do this business, but they never focus on the metaphysical part and, like you said, the laws of success and the laws of attraction. Yep. And see, I guess people kind of write it off because they can't see it or touch it. Yeah. It's kind of like, if they can't see it, they can't touch it, they're looking for information. Yeah, and you can't put it's not like an investment where you say, okay, I'm going to put money in a money market account, and I'm going to go and I'm going to get a 2% interest, and this is my return on investment. There is none. There's the faith, there's the trust, and it kind of puts you out there to kind of test that faith and trust in the universe or God, whatever you believe in, and it kind of puts you there. So I hammered you. And you didn't come to the meeting. I think you skipped one of the meetings we had. Because I remember, I think you skipped a couple. There was like one or two you skipped, or you were out of town or something. And I knew you were feeling bad because I knew, something was up. Now, and I think you chose not to actually tithe, right? Is that right? Well, you asked me that I chose not to tithe?
Yeah. After I hammered you, I remember not seeing you for a couple meetings. So at least a month. I didn't see you. You didn't come to the meetings or whatever. So
one of those weeks, one of those meetings, I had something to do. But I think the meeting after that, I just I kind of got discouraged. Because I just had nothing to say. I feel like I had nothing to report. Right. So I kind of, that's my fault, because there is tons of valuable information in each meeting. Yeah, but I kind of know how you feel, because you're struggling, you're kind of doing it. So okay, so then you made a decision to tithe. Is that right? That's it. Okay, and you did it. You made that decision. What happened? Oh man, it was I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to sell Flip to Freedom, but I tell you, it made the biggest difference because, matter of fact, I gave to a Christian orphanage called Sunshine Acres out in the valley. So what I did is I talked to my daughter. I told her, all the toys that you're not playing with, why don't you gather them up, and we're going to give it to children that don't have any toys. And we gathered those toys up, and I wrote a check also, and 10%. And I drove up there personally, and I gave them the toys, and I basically got to talking with the staff there, and I tell you, when I gave that money to the orphanage, and the woman at the front desk, the receptionist, just looked at me and said, "Wow, what's this?" And I said, I want to give. I think you can use this money. So I gave her the check, and she was so grateful to take the check. And it was an empowering thing to me, because when I think back, I said, man, I haven't really just gave it myself like that. Like, I might donate $5 here, at Walmart, they ask you, do you want to donate for cancer research? I give $1 there. But me going out of myself, giving money for a cause, just giving of myself, even in the midst of all this these bad business experiences I'm going through, even in the midst of that, to be able to give of myself and feel that good, it was very empowering for me. And,
and think of the example you set for your daughter as well. I mean, that's
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it taught my daughter, I think my daughter is very proud, I can say, of me, because matter of fact, I actually come from a very poor background.
Sure.
And I know what it is to not have. So for me to do that, I really felt like I contributed something. And I said, hey, even if I didn't receive anything, I didn't just give to expect to get a good return on my, real estate investment business, but I gave because, this is what you should do. It's just the right thing to do. When you have, there's people that don't have anything.
Right.
So it was very empowering for me. And when I did that, I felt so good. I was ready to go to the next mastermind meeting.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening, just to kind of speed it up, went out of town. I came back. And
now you didn't do any marketing at that time, right? You gave and no marketing, nothing. Where'd you go out? So you went out of town and you came back, right?
Yep, came back, and I had a campaign ready. I was actually I must admit, I had a master plan when I came back. I got my letters all together. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, I'm going to mail out 1,000 letters this next month. I got it all together. Went on vacation, and when I came back, I was like, hey, I'm going to hit this strong, and I'm going to get a deal this month. And I tell you what, a day later, I got a call, actually a text on my phone. I called them up. They were motivated. Went out to the house. The house.
Okay, so you have no idea. I mean, this call came from a random mailing that you did, either a week, months earlier, right?
Yep, from one of the so-called, I thought it was a bad list. I thought it was a bad list, but it was the only text that came in.
It's the only thing that came in. You didn't have any marketing. You're on vacation. So this. Yeah. And how long did that text come in after you actually, you went down that child's orphanage there and donated?
Approximately, maybe about, I'd say 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
2.5, maybe 3 weeks after. Okay. Because I had to, I was a knucklehead at first. I waited so long to tithe. And, before I went on the trip, I pretty much tithed, 2-3 weeks before that. But,
right, so you went on the trip, and then you got the call, and the lead came in, and now let's talk about this deal. So, how did you know these people were motivated?
Well, older couple, they had a property. They were renting out to their daughter, and their daughter wasn't paying any rent, like she should be paying. And she was living in a house with her boyfriend, and the grass wasn't cut like it should, and they wouldn't take care of the pool. And the older gentleman, he had to pretty much come to the property and keep it up, even though he had his daughter and her boyfriend staying there. And he was just very frustrated. He was an older guy. He was saying that he had back problems, working 30 years, and he was just I sat there with them in the house for maybe about a good hour and a half, just talking. And they had a huge dog, and it's so ironic that the dog they had is the dog that I've always wanted, which was a Great Dane.
Right.
So I actually see this huge, gigantic dog. I'm saying to myself, oh man, this is too good to be true. This is a good talking point. This dog is what I've always wanted. It's great. And I'm just talking to them, and they were just expressing how they had to use their money that they had for retirement and just to live off of to take care of this property, and they just wanted to be done with it. So at that time, I thought you were out of town, Sean. So I just got my contracts, signed them out, I filled them out before I went, and on a whim, I just went out there and said, hey, can I, before I went out there, I said, hey, can I meet you at the house?
Right.
Because at first, just to back up a little bit, at first, I talked to him, and I kind of roughly did the numbers in my head. I thought it wasn't a deal. because it just wasn't low enough. But I called her back. I called her name was Linda. I called the seller back, and I said, hey, can I go see the house? And I'm so glad I did that, because we went to the house, and I ended up getting the property under contract that day.
No, they owned it free and clear, right?
It was free and clear. It had a nice pool. The property, needed some outside cosmetic work,
but it was probably, when we did comps on it, I think it was probably worth about 75 to 80 all fixed up, is what we're thinking,
exactly.
Right?
Yep, patio home. They took real good care of the pool. I guess the pool was like their pride and joy. They wanted that pool to stay nice and pretty and blue. So they replaced the filters and everything. So, they were, let's just say they were very motivated. I put it under contract, and I couldn't wait to tell you about it. So.
Right. So then I remember you called me up, said you got a house under contract of the deal. So we set an appointment. I went over there with you to the house, right? And we met them, and and I think what happened there? I think we were at 33, but we negotiated back down to 30 because of roof damage, right? Because we saw there was roof damage, right? Got it down, and so redid the contract at 30,000, right? And then from there, opened up escrow on it. I sent it out to my buyers list, and we found a buyer for 42,000. And after closing costs and fees and everything, ended up with $5,300 a piece. Pretty good, though, huh?
Pretty good. And I tell you, it flew off the shelf. I mean, I say in under a week we got a contract for that on the buyer's side, I believe. So I was very impressed, and it felt so good. I felt empowered again. It was almost like my first deal, because
because it was so long you kind of forgot what the first deal was like,
Yeah, exactly. It felt like I weathered the storm, and it tested me and tested my willpower. And sometimes I just envision myself being this big time wholesaler here in the Phoenix area.
Right. And
I just told myself, this is my memoirs. This is if you buy a book in the store, who reads a memoir or a biography of a person that just had it picture perfect their whole life?
Yeah. Oh, I got into wholesaling. I sent some letters. I made my first check. I sent some more letters. I made this, and the next thing I made $1 million, and I retired on the beach. Who does that?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's the ups and downs in those 6 months of just beating your head against the wall, trying to figure out this whole business, and then figuring out that, oh wow, I have a big part in this whole business, and there is the two sides of the coin that we talk about. So cool. So now moving forward, so obviously you're going to implement the spiritual side, the metaphysical side, you call it, the side of giving and stuff like that. And so you excited about your future?
Oh yes, I'm definitely excited. I've never been so happy to give, my tithes like I am now. I am so happy to give it. And, I believe the more that I put out there into the universe, to get on the metaphysical level, the more that I put out, I believe that I'm going to receive that back.
Right.
And basically, I'm just going to implement the knowledge that, you taught me, and just try to make it bigger each month, And,
right.
So I have massive plans that I want to do,
So for the person right now that's listening, that's maybe struggling to get their first deal, or they've got their first deal, and they're in that in between, like no man's land, where they've got their first deal and they haven't got their second deal yet, and they're kind of questioning, and and they're thinking about potentially quitting, and their family's telling them they're crazy. What would you tell to them? Because you were there. And you broke through that. What would you tell those people for, words of encouragement to get them to keep going?
Well, what I would tell them is never stop. Never stop. You only fail when you stop. This is not failure. This is a learning experience. I think you have to kind of I would tell a person, you're not failing. You fail when you stop. So keep going. I mean, if it's a little that you can do, just keep going. Any kind of experience you gain, even off of leads that aren't deals, you're gaining knowledge. As you keep going, you're gaining more experience, you're gaining more knowledge. It's a numbers game, And, there might be times where you don't do anything. There may be times where you do. But, I would tell somebody, just keep going. I don't care if it's at a turtle pace. I don't care if you have to save up some money to do a campaign. You have to believe in what you're doing. It does work. There are people making tons of money in the market off of wholesaling.
Right.
There's plenty of inventory out there to do this. There's so many properties out there. And I mean, I would just tell people just to keep your focus. I mean, that's another thing I would say. Keep focus. Don't waver in your focus. So sometimes you can get off track when you're not making any progress, and you begin to venture off into other things. You might buy another course from somebody else, or you might read another book, or you might see this other venture that, hey, I can sell wash machines. Let me go do that. I can get rich off of that. No, just keep your focus. And, what I just told myself is, Sean laid it out for me. I'm just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm going to analyze what I'm doing wrong and correct it, but I'm just going to keep forward. And that's what I did. Some campaigns were smaller than others in that 5 months, but I just kept going, kept my focus. I kept in mind what I want for my life. To me, this is not something that I'm trying. This is my life.
Right.
This is my career. So I can't really, understand a lot of people, motivation or whatever. I mean, some people want to replace their career, or they want to work for themselves, or make their own money or whatever. Me, this is what I do.
Right.
So there is no other for me, So that was a motivation for myself.
I think you made an absolute great point. And so many people, they go, okay, oh my gosh, I'm going to try this thing out. And I'm going to try the Flip to Freedom Academy, or I'm going to try this program or this program, and I'm going to try to do it before the 30-day guarantee is up. I'm going to try to do it, exactly. I remember one guy when he said, listen, do you think I can do this before the 30-day guarantee is up? So if it doesn't work, I can get my money back. I said, don't even join. Don't even waste your time. Don't even waste my time. Don't even join. Don't waste anybody's time, because it's not going to work for you. It's just the bottom line. If you go into this expecting that you're going to fail, then you're going to fail. But see, you have a different attitude. You went in and you just said, I don't care what it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I'm just going to keep plowing forward, and I'm going to figure out what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to apply the principles and turn around and get success. Now, I guarantee the next 6 months, and we'll do a podcast 6 months from now, I guarantee the next 6 months are going to be completely different from the previous 6 months, because now you'll apply both sides of the coin there, which is going to make a big difference in your success. And I think it was a definite breakthrough for you, to do out and do that.
Oh, was it? I tell you, plan to fail even before they try it. They plan their escape pod. They already have the escape pod, ignited and ready to jump ship before they even jump into real estate. And if you plan to fail, then your mind is going to lead you to failure. So, I had a saying, that I would kind of tell myself, I'm going to do this or die trying. Or I'm going to die, I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. I'm not really.
That's like the 50 Cent, right? It's a 50 Cent. I'm going to get rich or die trying.
Replace trying with something else. You don't try this. Like you said, I don't.
I'm going to get rich or die doing it.
You don't need me to justify whether this works. Like, you don't need me to justify whether it works or not. The wholesaling business itself does not need my justification on whether it works or not. It works. It's just like you said in another podcast, I'm the one not working, So, you have to self-evaluate, and like you said, there's two sides, to the business. You have the spiritual side, and you also have the informational side.
Yep.
So now I feel like, I just put another bullet in my gun because I have my full arsenal, because now I learned the two sides of the business. Now I can put them together and make some real major moves.
Right.
And,
I tell people, I say, listen, this business is 80% mental, emotional, and and the rest of it is just technical. It's technical on, okay, what list you send, how do you talk to them, what letter do you send, all that type of stuff. The rest of it is mental. It's a mental game, and
it is. It's mental.
Just like golf,
Yeah, I'll tell you, just yesterday, 2 days ago, I had a lead come in, and I was talking with this lady over the phone, and she said, my house isn't for sale, but the house next door, they just, somebody died in that property, and the trustee lives in Virginia. Why don't you give him a call? And I'm like, wow, I got a lead off a dead lead.
Things happen.
I'm telling you, it's just coming in now. So, I can't wait to donate or give your tithe to a church. I can't wait to do it because I can see it coming.
Yep.
I can feel the success. I can honestly say I feel the force now. Like Luke Skywalker, I feel the force, and I feel highly confident, and I only see good things coming later on. I can see the big deals coming. That's what I'm waiting on now.
Yep.
I can see those big checks coming in,
right.
And closing 3 to 5 properties a month. I feel that coming now,
Right.
And it's just more to learn. This is a learning process. When I look back a year from now, I'm going to be like, wow, I remember when I didn't get a deal for 6 months,
Right.
And I'm still here, and doing
You're still
well.
here. You're still cranking. So for people that are listening right now, then what you can pull away from this is, first off is that you got to understand there is two sides of the coin. There's the spiritual side and the and the law of attraction, and then like giving and tithing and stuff like that. And then there's the how-to side, which that's why I provide this podcast, is a lot of providing both. But so you can pull understanding that concept is really important. And I think Dorsey expressed it so well, is that you're not a failure unless you quit. Because see, if Dorsey would have quit 5 months into it, then guess what? And he would have quit and gave up on his dream and went back to his, to maybe I'll get my education, I'll go back and get a job and stuff like that. He would never know. That's a decision that's life altering, but what happened is he made a decision to stick with it. He went out, he got his check, and now he'll apply it, and he'll go out and watch. He'll go. We'll do a podcast 6 months from now, and he's going to be so much farther ahead financially and successfully than he has in the past 6 months, just because of the tweaks, because he's learning and he has the right attitude. So taking that away is that, listen, never quit. You're never a failure unless you're quit. I thought it was a great point. Thanks for saying that, Darcy. And the other thing is that education is incredibly important. And application's incredibly important, but also too implementation, when it comes from implementing the and seeing it and believing it and understanding it and knowing that you're going to go out and have that success, and then be able to apply those things and do the things that need to make do the how-to stuff, and it just kind of all lines up, and next thing you know, you'll have success. And the thing is, it's not just in wholesaling. It's in any business you get in. Any business, you'll have these type of challenges no matter what. So
a lot of businesses, in the beginning, they don't even make a profit probably for the first year. So you have to keep at it, and you have to want it bad enough to stick with it, and you have to believe in what you do. So at first, talk to motivated sellers, I kind of felt like, I was trying to, get people to sell me their property. But then as I moved on, I kind of progressed a little bit. I understood that, hey, I'm doing people a favor. There are, individuals in serious jams, and they can't get out of these properties. They have to move, or they're going into nursing homes, or the property is just a wreck. And these people literally give you a hug and thank you for taking this property away from them.
Right.
You know, so when I start to believe in what I do, that made a world of difference. You have to believe in what you do. You have to believe that it works. Stick with it.
Yeah, because you're solving a problem. You're solving a problem for these people that have there's you know, and they don't want to have to go fix it up. It's vacant. They're stressed about it. They don't have the money to put together, or they don't want to have to list it with a realtor and go through that whole process and stuff. And they just want to get it sold, get it done, close the estate or whatever, and be done with it. So
exactly. And I'll tell you, when I showed a buddy of mine one of my checks, and I said, hey, I just closed this, when I got back in town. And that check, even though, it was $5,300, it was probably more than he made in a month. And he was just shocked at it because, a lot of people don't believe in wholesaling and real estate. And when I showed him that check, sometimes if you show people a check, that makes a world of difference. They'll listen to you talk, but if you show them money and a check, I want to join, I want to get in.
Yeah, I always say there's no better revenge than massive success. So all those people that are talking trash, you can just say, "Here's my check," and you can shove it in their face. So, all right, well, we've been about an hour. We've been about an hour here, so we got to wrap it up because we got the mastermind meeting tonight. We're gonna run down there. So
yeah, definitely, yeah, okay, so I'll see you there.
Yeah. And, so hey, Dorsey. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to leave listeners with this short, this exit here. Don't try this business. Flip to Freedom. If you haven't joined already, get on the Flip to Freedom. Sean's a real, genuine guy. And like I said, I've come across people that they only tell you bits and pieces of real estate, but they never give you the detailed inside story of real estate. I mean, Sean even gives you the metaphysical side. He goes a step further. And I tell you, you won't be unsatisfied if you join this. So give it the program if you haven't already. And
boom.
That's it. I appreciate you having me on today, Sean. And,
I think this story will. Yeah, I think the story will inspire a lot of people, and it gives and I think people want to hear that that story about someone who persisted and they did what it took and they put forth the effort and they went out and got the results. So thanks for sticking with it. Thanks for spending a time with us here on this interview, and I'm super excited for you and your future. And we will talk tonight at the Mastermind meeting. And for everyone listening right now, if you want to go to flip2freedom.com, flip2freedom.com, you actually can get my free book. It's a 129-page comprehensive detailed blueprint that I put together that Dorsey read. I give it for free and kind of give an idea, and then you can listen to the other 57 podcasts on there as well. But you can get that for free. Just enter your email address in there, and I'll send you a special link where you can download that. And that's at flip2freedom.com. So, Dorsey, thanks again. I'll see you tonight, and let's rock and roll.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. Take care, and everybody else, take care, and God bless.